The expansive conference room with its floor-to-ceiling glass walls sat high on the 35th floor of the Pinnacle Plaza Tower, bathed in the unforgiving glare of fluorescent lights, while relentless rain lashed the windows, obscuring the glittering Chicago skyline amid the biting late autumn storm. I made one final adjustment to my laptop, double-checking the cables linked to the massive wall-mounted screen that held the power to either salvage Elena's struggling company or send it spiraling into oblivion. My name is Ethan Hayes, and in mere moments, my own wife was about to dismantle me publicly in front of the most crucial clients her career had ever attracted. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today," Elena opened with her signature CEO poise, a commanding tone honed over 4 relentless years of captivating investors and stakeholders alike. She positioned herself at the head of the gleaming oak table, clad in her customary navy Versace power suit, her auburn hair swept into a severe chignon that amplified her aura of unyielding authority, as if she could dismiss half the room with a single glance. As you all know, Nexus Dynamics has pioneered cutting-edge software frameworks designed to revolutionize data management for the world's leading corporations. I studied the faces around the table carefully. Victoria Kane, the sharp-eyed lead from Pinnacle Corp., sat with her hands neatly folded, her expression an impenetrable mask of professionalism. Her 4 executives flanked her, tablets poised, fingers flying across screens as they captured every detail. On Elena's side were a trusted inner circle, Laura Bennett, the ever-nodding chief operations officer who echoed Elena's every sentiment, Raj Patel, the brilliant chief technology officer who alone comprehended the intricate technical underbelly, and 3 vice presidents whose names I had long since ceased committing to memory after their 6th straight meeting of dismissing my expertise outright. The platform we're unveiling today is the culmination of 2 full years of exhaustive development, rigorous testing, and iterative refinement, Elena continued smoothly, gesturing toward me without so much as a flicker of eye contact. Our primary technical advisor will now guide you through the core specifications. Primary technical advisor, not husband, not collaborator, not even Ethan. Just a title that reduced me to some off-the-shelf contractor, ignoring the fact that I had single-handedly architected the entire system from the ground up while she navigated boardroom politics and schmoozed executives. I rose steadily, clicking the remote to launch the first slide. The room's collective focus shifted to me, and that familiar surge of quiet confidence took hold, the kind that comes from knowing you're about to reveal something truly transformative. "What you're on the verge of experiencing," I began, my voice calm and unwavering despite the electric tension simmering between Elena and me, "is a revolutionary data fusion platform capable of ingesting, processing, and analyzing streams from disparate sources at speeds that obliterate anything currently available on the market. We're reducing analysis times from hours, or even days, to mere minutes, all while maintaining accuracy rates north of 97%. The opening demonstration unfolded without a hitch. Real-time data cascaded across the screen in vivid streams, demonstrating how the system effortlessly harmonized inputs from financial accounting software, sprawling customer relationship databases, dynamic inventory management tools, and real-time sales pipelines to generate comprehensive, actionable reports that would otherwise demand entire teams of analysts laboring for days on end. Victoria Kane leaned forward just a fraction, an encouraging sign that spoke volumes in this high-stakes arena. "The true genius of this innovation," I pressed on, my rhythm building as passion for the work ignited, "lies in our advanced pre-processing algorithms. These intelligently detect data patterns and anomalies even before full integration commences, allowing the system to predict potential conflicts and resolve them autonomously, without ever kicking issues back for tedious manual intervention." I advanced to the next slide, unveiling benchmark comparisons that painted a stark picture. Our solution didn't just edge out the competition, it left them in the dust, with performance graphs so lopsided they verged on the comical. Processing speed enhancements range from 400 to 600%, scaling with data complexity, I explained clearly. For a powerhouse like Pinnacle Corp., our projections conservatively estimate annual operational savings approaching $2.5 million, not even factoring in the unparalleled strategic edge from instantaneous business intelligence that turns raw data into decisive action. Exactly 3 minutes into the presentation, precisely 3, Elena's chair scraped harshly against the polished tile floor. She shot to her feet, her face flushed crimson in what I momentarily mistook for enthusiastic fervor. Then her eyes locked on mine, cold and venomous. "I can't stomach another second of this garbage," she spat, her voice slicing through the room like a sharpened blade, shattering the professional veneer. Every murmur ceased abruptly. Pens hovered mid-stroke. Even the steady drum of rain against the glass seemed to falter in stunned silence. Elena stormed to the front, her stiletto heels striking the floor with furious, echoing cracks that reverberated like gunfire. She lunged at my laptop and, without a second's hesitation, wrenched the power cord from the wall outlet. The screen plunged into instant blackness, snuffing out the flowing data streams mid-revelation. "You're single-handedly embarrassing my entire company," she snarled, her volume booming so loudly that I was certain it carried down the hallway to startled receptionists and passing staff. The ensuing silence was suffocating, thick enough to choke on. Somewhere, a phone vibrated faintly against a table. Raj Patel's stylus tumbled from his notepad, clattering to the floor with a tiny, plastic snap that exploded in the void like a thunderclap. I glanced around. Two of Victoria's executives were sly smirks, openly savoring the unfolding corporate theater. Laura Bennett shrank in her seat, looking desperate to melt into the floor. Victoria Kane's face remained a stone wall, though her stylus had frozen motionless on her tablet. Elena stood there, chest heaving, eyes daring me to explode, to argue, defend, create the chaos she craved to retroactively justify her tantrum. Instead, I responded with measured calm, reaching over to gently close my laptop lid. The soft, deliberate click echoed unnaturally in the hush. I unplugged the display cable next, coiling it with precision before sliding it into my bag, then methodically packed my power adapter, printed notes, and presentation remote, taking my time with each motion as if nothing extraordinary had transpired. Elena watched, her expression a turbulent mix of smug satisfaction and growing confusion. This wasn't unfolding according to her anticipated script. My phone buzzed softly in my pocket. I retrieved it casually, glanced at the screen, and felt the ghost of a smile tug at my lips. The message was from Victoria Kane herself: "Leave the room now. She's on the verge of learning a harsh lesson." I finished securing my bag, zipped it shut, and slung it over my shoulder. Meeting Victoria's gaze directly, I offered the subtlest nod of acknowledgement. "Thank you all for your time," I said to the room at large, my tone perfectly even and professional. "I wish you a productive continuation." With that, I walked to the door, opened it smoothly, and stepped into the corridor. Behind the glass walls, Elena's voice rang out once more, artificially bright and authoritative. "I apologize for that unfortunate display of incompetence. Allow me to demonstrate what Nexus Dynamics is truly capable of achieving." I didn't linger for the sequel. Striding toward the elevator bank, I pressed the call button and waited patiently. Through the transparent partitions, I watched Elena launch into her solo pitch, gesturing animatedly at the now blank screen that had hosted my demo moments earlier. The elevator chimed softly and arrived. As the doors slid shut behind me, I checked my phone once more. 3 minutes flat. In just 3 minutes, Elena had single-handedly torched her company's future. She had no inkling of the storm brewing in response. I didn't venture far. The 35th floor featured a plush waiting lounge adjacent to the elevators, outfitted with supple leather armchairs and panoramic views of the storm-ravaged city, a lavish expense that siphoned tens of thousands from Nexus's annual budget. I claimed a seat and settled in to wait. Precisely 7 minutes later, the conference room doors swung open, and Victoria Kane emerged at the head of her full team. They passed the reception desk without pause, faces etched in practiced neutrality, though their stiff postures and clipped strides betrayed volumes of disdain. Victoria approached me directly, her demeanor composed yet purposeful. "Mr. Hayes," she said, extending her hand firmly. "My deepest apologies for the spectacle you endured in there." "No apology required," I replied, rising to clasp her hand. "I've witnessed far uglier scenes in my time." "Have you really?" she inquired, one eyebrow arching skeptically. "Because that was a masterclass in corporate self-destruction, even by the most jaded standards." Behind her, Daniel Foster, a younger executive whose nameplate had identified him, shook his head in evident disbelief. 22 years in this industry, he muttered under his breath, and I've never seen anyone sink their own ship quite like that. Victoria glanced back through the glass at Elena, who was still gesticulating to her diminished internal team. "She has no idea, does she?" Victoria asked me pointedly. "About who you truly are. Your accomplishments. Why we specifically conditioned this entire deal on your personal involvement." I shrugged nonchalantly. Elena has always shown little interest in the technical intricacies. "Technical intricacies," Victoria repeated, a genuine smile breaking through her reserve for the first time. "Mr. Hayes, you architected the foundational frameworks for 3 of the most dominant data integration platforms powering Fortune 100 giants today. Your tenure at Nexus's predecessor firm remains the undisputed gold standard for real-time analytics processing. The moment we learned you were open for consulting engagements, insisting on your participation was the simplest unanimous decision my board ever made. Daniel nodded vigorously in agreement. That snippet of your presentation. It was precisely what we came hoping to witness. The technology is nothing short of phenomenal. Was phenomenal, Victoria corrected crisply, shifting to past tense with finality. The deal is off the table. As if her words had summoned it, the conference room doors flew open again, and Elena burst out, her face a storm cloud of fury and bewilderment. She zeroed in on our group instantly and charged over, heels clattering in rapid-fire urgency. Victoria, please, allow me to explain what just transpired, she pleaded, her voice laced with thinly veiled panic. My advisor was only showing preliminary, outdated material. The full solution we're proposing is exponentially more robust and comprehensive. Victoria turned to face her squarely, and I watched Elena's assured facade crack ever so slightly under the older woman's unflinching scrutiny. Mrs. Hayes, Victoria stated, her tone courteous yet irrevocably conclusive, Pinnacle Corp has elected not to proceed with this partnership. Elena's mouth gaped open, then snapped shut in shock. I'm sorry, what? But you haven't even viewed our complete presentation. What Ethan displayed was merely an early prototype. The real system. The real system, Victoria interjected smoothly, was precisely what your husband was demonstrating right before you yanked the plug on his computer. My husband. Elena echoed, genuine confusion etching her features. Ethan's just a contracted advisor. He's not even on payroll as a full employee. Daniel let out a sound midway between a scoff and a cough. Victoria's expression remained implacable. Mrs. Hayes, are you acquainted with your husband's professional pedigree? Of course, Elena shot back defensively. He's a freelance consultant. I brought him on because he was available and cost-effective. The silence that descended was so absolute I could hear the distant hum of the building's air conditioning kicking into a new cycle. Available and cost-effective, Victoria echoed deliberately, drawing out the words. Mrs. Hayes, your husband is Ethan Hayes, the visionary who designed the data integration systems currently backbone for Oracle, Salesforce, and IBM. His standard consulting rate commands $6,000 per day, and his calendar is booked solid 2 years in advance. Elena's complexion cycled through shades of shock and denial. That's absurd. Ethan's been out of steady work for nearly 6 months. Not at all, Victoria replied gently but firmly. Ethan took a deliberate sabbatical from client commitments to pour his energies into groundbreaking new development. The platform he showcased today embodies 2 years of solitary research and innovation. It's a true paradigm shift. But he's my husband, Elena protested, as if marital status invalidated all else. He's no industry icon. He's just Ethan. Victoria inclined her head toward me. This, just Ethan, is precisely why Pinnacle pursued Nexus Dynamics in the first place. Learning of his developmental partnership with your firm positioned us for early access to what promised to be the next evolution in data tools. For the first time in months, Elena turned to truly see me, not as a fixture or footnote, but as the man whose capabilities were suddenly clashing violently with her preconceptions. You never mentioned any of this, she accused softly. You never inquired, I countered evenly. Victoria consulted her watch with a brisk glance. Mr. Hayes, allow me to propose something concrete. Pinnacle Corp extends an exclusive consulting contract, 18 months of full-spectrum development support, aimed at commercializing your technology under our joint banner. What compensation are we discussing? I inquired directly. $2.8 million upfront, plus substantial equity in all derived products. Elena emitted a sharp, guttural gasp, as if physically struck. I accept, I stated without hesitation. Victoria's smile was one of quiet triumph as she extended her hand once more. Outstanding. Contracts will be ready by morning. Pivoting back to the now statue-still Elena, she added with crystal clarity, Mrs. Hayes, to be unequivocally clear, the termination of our Nexus partnership has zero bearing on your technology or personnel. It hinges entirely on your catastrophic lapse in judgment. You publicly eviscerated the very individual positioned to rescue your firm, doing so before clients who arrived explicitly for him. Elena parted her lips to retort, but Victoria raised a hand preemptively. No argument alters this outcome. Best of luck with your endeavors. Victoria and her entourage proceeded to the elevators. As the doors sealed them away, Elena whirled toward me, desperation raw in her eyes. Ethan, you can't go through with this. That deal represented a $52 million lifeline for Nexus. Without it, bankruptcy hits within 6 months. Then perhaps you shouldn't have unplugged my demonstration, I observed coolly, turning toward the elevators myself and leaving her isolated in the lounge. I could hear her phone already in hand, no doubt summoning an emergency board huddle, as I stepped into the arriving car. Through the narrowing gap in the doors, one final glimpse, Elena alone at the head of the deserted conference table, gesticulating wildly at the empty screen that mocked her ambitions. 3 minutes. That was all it took to upend everything. And this was merely the prelude. The call pierced the early morning quiet at 6:45 a.m. I was already immersed in my new corner office suite at Pinnacle's gleaming downtown headquarters, a perk of the freshly inked consulting pact, poring over refined technical blueprints when my phone lit up. Ethan, thank God, came Raj Patel's voice, Nexus's CTO, and one of the scant few at Elena's firm I held in genuine regard. Have you caught the headlines? Which ones? I asked, already sensing turbulence. Chicago Tech Herald website. Pull it up immediately. I flipped open my laptop and navigated straight there. The front page screamer blared, Tech exec torpedoes $52 million mega deal in epic 3-minute meltdown. The piece was merciless, fed by leaks from eyewitnesses in the room, portraying Elena as a bumbling tyrant who had kneecapped her own empire by savaging a world-class expert mid-pitch. It dissected Nexus's precarious finances, the deal's make-or-break stakes, and mounting boardroom skepticism about her stewardship. A prominent sidebar lionized my career as a data integration luminary. Jesus, I murmured, skimming the vitriol. Who fed the press? Take your pick, Raj sighed. Half the room harbored grudges against her for months. Yesterday handed them live ammunition on a platter. He continued, the board convened an emergency session overnight. Elena's out as CEO, effective immediately. I leaned back, absorbing the velocity of the fallout. I'd anticipated repercussions, but not at light speed. Who's stepping in? Laura Bennett as interim, but they're hunting a permanent fix fast. Ethan, straight talk, did you foresee this cascade? Victoria Kane wasn't about to shrug off Elena's antics, I replied measuredly. The media blaze. That I didn't predict. Raj paused, unconvinced. Fair enough. One more flag, Elena's been phoning contacts, digging into your history and the tech's origins. She's scheming. After disconnecting, I dove back into architecture diagrams for Pinnacle. My invention wasn't hype, it represented a wholesale reimagining of data fusion for real-time, high-complexity environments. Elena had presided over a fortune in the making without ever grasping its magnitude. Around noon, a text pinged from an unfamiliar number, we must talk. Brewhaven, 2 p.m. Elena. Brewhaven was a cozy, low-key cafe 6 blocks from Nexus's offices. I arrived early, securing a secluded booth at the rear. Elena materialized right on time, but transformed, haggard in a way I'd never witnessed. Her flawless makeup bore smudges, her hair lacked its usual precision, and jeans with a simple sweater replaced her armor of designer suits. I've been fired, she stated flatly, sliding opposite without pleasantries or ordering. 19 years pouring my soul into building that company, Ethan. All ashes because of one idiotic outburst. I held silence, knowing Elena rarely indulged self-examination. Curiosity held me to gauge her reckoning. I had no clue, she pressed, voice cracking slightly, about your real accomplishments. Why keep it from me? I shared it repeatedly, I corrected. You tuned out. She winced visibly. I was laser-focused on scaling the business. Figured you were in a rough patch, jobless for ages. You never pushed it as vital. Elena, I handed you articles profiling my projects. Explained the breakthroughs in detail. Each time, you pivoted topics or claimed board meetings left no bandwidth for tech talk. Her gaze dropped to her clasped hands. Now the board's gearing for a lawsuit, breach of fiduciary duty, they claim. Accusing me of torching $52 million via gross negligence. Was it negligence? I probed. Her head snapped up, fire reigniting. One slip-up, Ethan. Does that obliterate everything I constructed? I leaned in closer. You didn't slip, you orchestrated a public humiliation of me before your company's golden ticket clients. Deliberate, spectacle-driven, consequence-blind. That's not error, that's disdain. I was seething, she admitted. The demo wasn't landing as scripted. So you imagined degrading me would salvage it? She fell mute, adrift. After an eternity, I want to undo this. Make it right. How? Return to Nexus. Help me resurrect it. Genuine partners this time, CTO role, equity stake, name your terms. I nearly laughed outright. Nexus is terminal, pinnacle or no. Your board and team see through you now. Bankruptcy clock ticks at 6 months. Not with your firepower. Why invest in a corpse? Because I'm your wife. Her volume crested unintended, nearby patrons glanced over. She dialed it down. Married means team, Ethan. Partners through hell. Partners. I echoed incredulously. When last did you treat me as such, not hired help? Solicit my view on big calls. Actually hear my work stories. Her lips parted, then sealed. Not once this past year, I filled the void. You've cast me as burden or liability. Yesterday merely went viral. That's unfair. Unfair? You billed me to clients as primary advisor, erasing husband or equal. Like some budget temp. Professional boundaries. No, deliberate detachment. Pattern for months. She wrestled inwardly, evident. Then, bombshell, I filed divorce papers this morning. Claiming half of all assets, including valuation of tech birthed in our marriage. My shock mirrored hers once. Suing for half the garbage you trashed publicly. Marital era creation, leveraging my company's ecosystem. Legit claim. Your ousted company. IP vests with me pre-finalization. Amid outrage, admiration flickered, crisis sharpened her edge. Tech's dead weight sans implementation expertise. I'll adapt. You barely fathom its mechanics. Experts await. Post-job, amid bankruptcy funds. For the first time, her smile gleamed predatory. Divorce settlement covers it. Half your pinnacle windfall does nicely. Ice nodded my gut. She'd scouted the deal's scale meticulously. Court it is, I said, rising. See you there. Her eyes tracked my exit. War ignited, she fancied aces up sleeve. Reality awaited. 3 days on, courier-delivered papers hit my pinnacle nook. Elena's counsel was exhaustive, half marital IP value, joint holdings, full pinnacle contract slice. My attorney, Liam Grant, veteran of my prior deals, dissected them. Audacious gambit. Positions your rep as communal property. Feasible. Shield test. IP strongest if nexus entwined. Contracts personal skill fruit. Counter strategies. Brawl it out. But warning, drains fortunes, turns vicious. Her sharks Rebecca Voss, high-stakes divorce annihilator. Post-call, Elena's calculus clarified, bully settlement via drag-out dread, leverage IP defense need. Both misfires. Raj online, full candor, tech nexus pure. Hardware, licenses, cloud. Clean. My gear exclusively, self-funded tests. Insisted on dev sovereignty. Premises. 90% home cave. Office for meets only. Immaculate. Instinctive IP hygiene triumphed. Nexus consulting pay, 18 months. 38,000. Bargain mystery. Misplaced favor. Liam Redux, Chronicle Dev exhaustive, sites, tools, pay gap to market norm. Cement independent genesis. Sharp. Plus counter, Elena hawked my IP unlicensed in pitches, reaped Nexus gains illicitly. Brilliant pivot. Nail it as core pitch value, unlicensed profit equals damages. Public splash, docket open, press packets primed. Media maelstrom inbound. Committed. Elena nuked my standing publicly, now poaches life's opus. Affirmative. 2 days yielded airtight filing, dev audits, solo proofs, Nexus parasitism breakdown. Herald erupted, power couple divorce ignites IP heist allegations. Elena eviscerated, sub-paid spouse tech pitches, post-rent ownership grab. Experts on record, groundbreaking opus, tens of millions licensing motherlode. Elena rang post-hour 1. What fresh hell is this? Rectification. My name's Mud. Yours to polish. Recall deeming it nonsense. Private truce. You broadcasted the blitz, filed the raid. Facts democratize. IP concession, assets have. Overdue. Trial thirst. Judicial reckoning for rep wounds, indemnity mine. Dead air. Bastard. Orchestrated from step 1. Intended salvation, shared riches. Your humiliation pivot. Eternal war. Lawyer coffers stocked. Disconnect. 2 hours later, Liam, Voss conference push. Terms. IP total surrender, $250,000 IP misuse penalty. Pivot seismic. Spotlight scorches. Board suit circle, can't bleed press oxygen. Endorse take. Sweet severance. Her tremor call lingered. Fears arc incomplete. Counter, $600,000, public misuse mea culpa. Bold thrust. Thievery to infinity threat, now hush money. Desperation's depths. No, trial autopsy every slight. Client's decree. Swift reply, capitulation. Paradigm lock, marriage's first equity. Legal jujitsu reversed. Yet dignity's ledger dwarfed half-mil, ingenuity summoned. 6 months post-decree, Zenith, Pinnacle packed supernova, platform licensed to 5 Fortune elites, queues endless. Lakeshore penthouse gleamed, electric roadster purred, worth finally monetized. Elena's nadir, Nexus bankrupt quarter post, fire sale scraps, diaspora staff. Dual suits pinned her, investor ire, employee fraud claims. Globe nugget, ousted Nexus chief spawns consult venture. Strategic edge advisors eyed data-thirsty midsize. My marital osmosis, rep pilfered. Raj, rival CTO perch, word. Chutzpah incarnate, post-scandal. Poach bids. Affirm, freelance data lure. Spurned. Endgame. Pitch plausible via cohabitation lore. Back-end scramble. Short shelf poisons legit waters, snipes shares. Mull deepened. Insider grift, rep laundered hustle. Sly, suicidal. Industry pulses, Elena Hayes data insurgency, Kyle Donovan relayed. Teased my roster with your caliber wonders. Nibbles. Everton Industries. Buyer's remorse. Verdict. 6-week miracle vow. Quarter later, beta bomb. Litigation simmers. Echoes multiplied. Hype deliver fail, cred thief scam. Liam command, cease desist salvo. Me impersonation, client my tech teases, intimacy intel duel. Suit fodder, doc sparse. Taped confession. Legit path. Ethical snare. 48 hours plotted. Office hail, strategic edge advisors. Elena Hayes speaking. Elena, Ethan. Summit. Beat. Purpose. Venture aligns. No pedal. Tech license, equitable slice. Extended void. Type. Fusion essence. Client salvage basic, sans jury rig. Clueless. Everton whispers. Drowning mutual bailout. Brew Haven, Morrow 2 p.m. Agreed. Sting. Prosperity portal. Anti-window vigil, recorder prime pocketed. Elena punctual, burnished veneer, wardrobe refresh, strain veiled poise. Blunt opener, booth claimed. Client craters, skill void, uslore rivalry. Flush restrained. Bounds legal. Drowning nears. Pitch. License light fusion. Honor pacts, forge real. Cut. 60 gross tech rev. Hollow guffaw. Subjugation. Status quo, Cred, lore, nets exploited gratis. Due diligence. Superfluous. Everton pulse. Packed backlog. Mask fissured. Contained. Rumors paint breach imminence, suit swarm. Hands transfixed. Deal skeleton. Core access, manuals, support taper. 60 yield. Pass. Chi clients alerted, logged lies, flops, cred heists. Empire ash. Hustle implodes. Redemption ramp. Frosted pain vigil, wind-whipped strides. Mull required. 24 ticks. Depart, recorder ceased. Final, client teases archived. Dialogue docketed. Pivot, terror unveiled. Tape. Captured. Defy, suit exhibits public. Wordless bolt. Silence ensued. Council missive, edge shuttered stat. 14 days, Worcester software sales gig, CEO plummet, rep unleashed legitimacy. Tape archived, dormant sentinel. Annual Chicago Innovators Gala invite, 1 year post-Flashpoint, sparked grin. Fusion Crown Contention, Pinnacle Plaza Encore. Victoria Bespoke, our nomination sponsor. Trajectory stellar, deployments dominate, metrics shatter. Prestige humbling. Attend victory lap. Elena probable, host affiliate. Relish. Iron faded chamber, Yank Echo Phantom. Zegna bespoke eclipsed Elena epics. Elite swarm, moguls, VCs, inkslingers. Elena periphery, subdued cadre, slate sheath sands flash. Cross stairs, hers darted fugitive. Conglomerate engulfed, tech vivisections, alliance seeds, horizon scans. Merit monarch, shadow shed. Ethan Hayes. Daniel Foster's clasp thunderous. Legendary demo. Chord rip, apocalypse Q. Etched eternal. Reveal shock, theater gold. Exec chorus amplified, Elena's implosion autopsy, ripple rapture. Conundrum, Nora Ellis, Pinnacle VC, probed, cohabitation blind to brilliance. Aware. Deemed peripheral. Graver, elected eclipse. Elena adrift, network nailed. 8 p.m., triple nods, apex laurel. Victoria ascended. To data disruptor, millions minted, Intel democratized. Beyond code, metal myth, pitch inferno forged. Gale's laughter. Informed throng. Ethan Hayes. Thunderous. Elena transect, palms limp, scarlet tide. Trophy lustered, dais claimed. Profound thanks. Year ago, demo prelude. Chicago fable birthed. Chortles. Fame versus esteem, moniker cheap, worth wrested. Elena ensnared, enigma. Intimates long dimmed. Comfort trumped contest. Epiphany instant, airs oceanic, prisms pure. Trophy hoist. For overlooked, allies assailed. Mid-ascendancy unplugged. Detonation, roars, revelry. Pivots Elena ghostly. Fusion flourishes judgment-proof. Alliances honor craft over pageantry, yields over yarns. Freight pause. Heed, worth innate. Slights immaterial. Supreme reprisal, exact ode. Standing wave. Victoria clasp, poise pinnacle. Throng threaded, cards cascading, acclaim avalanche. Elena outlier, felicitations. Appreciated. Resonant rhetoric. Verity verbatim. Lacrimal ledge. Remorse absolute. Fathomed forfeited vein. Authentic. Nexus zenith, existence axis. Hubris hooded. Trophy appraised, hers. No despoil. Verities vivisected, room, union, essence exposed. Exit, Victoria shadow. Grace Godhead. Odyssey onerous, opulent. Final frame, Elena marooned merriment. Vita's vertex. Portals paled, trophy descent, victory veiled in Chicago gloam. 3 minutes kindled. Year consummated.